to the PAECT Pod. I am your actually co-host Dom Salvucci, Southwest Regional Director of PAECT. However, the main host, Mr. Eric Verno, is not here today. Um, he is meeting on the West Coast via Zoom, I believe, doing a training out there for some people. So I just wanted to say hi. We're doing a little bit of a cold open here instead of our usual um, opening, which is this. And we have two special guests, which I will get into after our openings. So, welcome to the PAECT Pod, Season 1, Episode, I want to say 10, but I didn't have it written down. This is a special episode because we're going into wrapping up May and actually wrapping up April, getting ahead of myself, heading into May. And we're getting into a special time of year. Teachers are winding down. Everyone's getting ready for summer if the weather ever cooperates. And it used to be in Western Pennsylvania, but now it is spreading. It is getting time to be Remake Learning Days. And we have two special guests to work with Remake Learning Days. Our first special guest is Kelsey Wilcox Boyles, our own PAACT member. And our second guest, Yuling Chen from Remake Learning Days. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Dom. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, thank you guys for coming on. We're going to talk with both of you about PAACT, Remake Learning Days, and events that we are working on together throughout the state. And actually, not to ruin the surprise, but to spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear it, cover your ears. Yuling, Remake Learning Days has expanded beyond Western Pennsylvania, correct?
Yes, so it started in 2016. It started in the Pittsburgh region. It honestly was an experiment the first year we did it. We thought, could we do a joyful celebration of learning? And at the time, people were like, what's a celebration of learning? And so for us, that meant to have a festival where all the people we were working with, after school educators, in school educators, roboticists, artists, teaching artists, people who were working in small businesses that were doing amazing learning activities with kids, to bring them together and have a festival where they basically open their doors. So the first year we actually called it the world's largest open house of learning. And whether you went to a library or a park or a school, you could go to a learning activity. And that year we had hundreds of events and 25,000 kids and families show up.
Oh, wow.
So then that experiment became something that we did again the following year. And then in 2018, we did a bus tour. People wanted to come and see it. So people came in from all over the US. And so in 2019, it became Remake Learning Days across America, which is how now it's grown to 17 regions this year, starting tomorrow, April 22nd through May 23rd. And every region picks their own dates. And that's how we met Kelsey. And we are so excited that Northwest PA has come back to host us parents and caregivers as well.
That is great. And it's cool that it's expanding and being a positive influence as it is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw a couple questions at Kelsey. Yuling, I'll give you a break for a second and let you go back to the green room. Although, we're out of M&Ms. Sam's Club was out of M&Ms whenever I was there, so I can't give you any treats. But let you kick back and relax for a second, and we'll talk with Kelsey. Then I'll bring you back in here in a few minutes. Kelsey, how are you tonight?
Hey, Dom. I'm doing great. I'm actually double duty tonight. I'm up in Edinburgh, PA at our Northwest PAECT Extra Mile Award dinner. So that's happening in the room beside me. And then you also asked me to do a PAECT podcast on the same night. So here I am.
I'm glad you could make both. I was only able to make one. I was hoping to try and make the Extra Mile Award dinner because it's not too far from where I'm at. So Kelsey, would you like to explain your role in PAECT for everyone who doesn't know?
Sure, yeah. I am the Northwest PAECT Assistant Regional Director, and I also volunteer on our statewide board as our IU Intermediate Unit Liaison to the PAECT board, and then also the liaison from PAECT to the IU group as well.
That's great. We're so glad to have you on board, and I'm sure the IU. I know with you've given me a lot of resources from your IU, even though we're in a different region. A lot of great resources. I'm sure they appreciate you um, working with them too. How long have you been a member of PAECT? Ballpark.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm thinking it's probably about 7 or 8 years. And I started when I started my role at the intermediate unit, but if I would have known about PACT sooner, I would have been a member for longer. So happy to be here for the time that I was or that I am, and um, just sharing resources and connecting teachers, educators with others across our Northwest region and across the state.
We're glad to have you on board. And I did take your tip on the pancake robots. I'm going to pick them up shortly. Looking forward to that. The kids at school are getting excited. Like, are you going to bring them in? Showed them a picture. Um,
Well, they still have them. IU1 still has $50 pancake bots, so I can hook you guys up. Anyone that's out there that needs a pancake bot still, let me know.
Sip out an email to the show. Pod at paect.org is the email address. We will get information to you. Um, you're also involved with Remake Learning. Would you like to explain how you're involved with Remake Learning?
I absolutely love Remake Learning Days. I love what they stand for. And yes, I am part of that as the lead for Northwest PA Remake Learning Days. And part of my role at the intermediate unit, I'm our STEM point of contact. And the Department of Ed actually gives us a list of initiatives each year. And for the past few years, on that list has been STEM, joyful learning, hands on learning, and to really lift up and connect and build our local STEM ecosystem, whether it's an informal STEM ecosystem or a formalized STEM ecosystem. And so that gives me some time really built into my day job to connect community partners that are doing great things for kids, whether it's during the school day or out of school time. And so when I first saw the momentum happening in Pittsburgh with the Remake Learning Network and with Remake Learning Days specifically, I heard they were expanding and they became Remake Learning Days across America. I wanted to latch on to that. We had such great pockets of innovation happening in our local libraries and our local historical museums like Drake Well Museum in Titusville with some oil and gas pieces, and wanted to highlight them and give them that platform. So we joined Remake Learning Days Northwest PA. Last year was our first year, and we are back for a second year. Actually, have doubled the events in our region from year one to year two. And we're really excited for May 12th to get here. Actually, we have some pre-festivals events happening. So we really start April 30th and then May 5th. And then there's a little bit of a lull, and May 12th through the 23rd, we'll have 121 Northwest PA events on that event
Wow,
calendar.
that's fantastic, and it's grown quickly and successfully. That's fantastic. Um, Now, I heard something about. In fact, we were talking last night at our PACT book study, which also ties into remake learning. We'll get into that later. But there was something about the Career Ready PA Backpack Challenge, and that's also is tied in with the PA Department of Education.
It is. Yeah, I'd love to talk about that real quick and put a little plug in there because the registration is still open for that Career Ready PA Backpack Challenge. The Department of Ed saw us last year, saw some really great connections, and looked at all these events that were happening and said, "Wow, every just about every event on that calendar aligns with our career standards, our K through 12 Department of Ed standards that students or that teachers are asked to align their lessons to. Can we marry these two? So they connected with Yuling and Dory from Remake Learning Days and said, how can we partner and make a campaign or a challenge out of it using your amazing community partners and event hosts that are already on the calendar. So they did a very successful campaign last year and have opened it up again this year. So schools first do need to register to be part of that Career Ready Backpack Challenge. And once they register, they'll get some marketing materials and share it with teachers and say, hey, teachers, if you see an event happening virtually or on demand and you want to include it in, during the school day with your kids, go ahead and engage your students in a Remake Learning Day event. And then here's a survey that the students will fill out after the event. And that counts as an artifact for the career portfolios that our schools across the state have to keep for the students of K through 12 career portfolios. And the other piece is, schools can also share with families evening events and weekend events, virtual events. And if students attend with their families, even out of school hours, they still have that survey that they can complete, and then that can also count as that artifact for their school portfolio.
Well, that's a great opportunity. That is a fantastic opportunity. And I'm glad you're sharing it with people because I just found out about it last night. So I'm going to share that with my district. And hopefully, people watching this will share it with their districts at home. Um, I know you're doing another event too. Can you stay for a while, Kelsey? Cool.
Yep,
Well,
I'll be.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to play the official pod guest of POD. I used to teach uh, principles of democracy, or if you're a pessimist, problems of democracy. It's always call it POD instead of pod. I'm going to play the official pod guest intro and then bring in Yu Ling. Yu Ling, welcome again. We got the official intro for you. I apologize to Kelsey because I forgot to play the official intro whenever she came in, but not used to working the back end of the podcast while I'm also hosting. Um, Yuling, we emailed a few times. It's great to meet you finally. Over the internet. Um, so we already talked about how remake learning has grown. If you could give us a little bit of background on yourself and how you became involved with remake learning.
Yeah, so I've been involved with Remake Learning since the launch of Remake Learning Days in 2016. Again, I thought it was a 1 year experiment, so it was just kind of I'm here to help out, and here I am, in 2022. So I serve as the co-producer for Remake Learning Days across America, and my background is in marketing. I really love community outreach. It's just something I'm passionate about and reaching families and communities and really bringing people together. But I also just personally, I studied music and economics. I was a musician for a while. I taught after school music classes, worked at the symphony. So I've done a variety of things in my life.
What instrument did you play?
I play violin.
Oh, nice, nice. That's one thing. I love music. I'm not the most talented at it. I can play to the level of annoying people, but it is something. It is a skill. It is a
So
skill I wish I would have tried more whenever I was younger. That's great. So with the remake learning days, you said because it's become so popular, went from a 1 year trial experiment to we're what 6 years in with this now, and it's grown from just around Pittsburgh, which I've heard about this a number of years ago, and I've gone to a couple events in the local area because growing up around Pittsburgh and being able to work in the area and living around here, I was able to hit a few events. But now that it's grown, you know, what do you see going on with this and how it's growing in the continuation of how the program's been? Um,
yeah,
I don't want to say
so
burgeoning because it has been from Western Pennsylvania to across the nation.
Yeah, so even that was a bit of a surprise for us when people came for the bus tour and then they said, we want to start our own festival. Can you help us? So one of the things we did was we created a toolkit that is open to anyone. Anyone can use it. In fact, Christchurch in New Zealand used our toolkit to create their own festival. Um, and for us, it really comes down to four goals. There are four goals behind the festival. So one is to create learning opportunities for parents and guardians to learn alongside their kids. So part of the Remake Learning Network, they bring together all these educators from different backgrounds together, and they have these idea immersions and they exchange ideas. They create amazing project-based learning. But then we realized that we were missing an important group of people, and those were the parents and primary guardians in the kids' lives. And so the festival gives that opportunity for parents to learn alongside them, to feel more confident in their skills, and to hopefully be a good partner then with the teacher in the school or the after-school educators, or maybe there when their kids discover a new passion and then they go sign up for an after-school camp. So that's one goal. And then the second is to celebrate learning. And I think a lot of times when we do that on a local level, we sometimes forget like there are other cities and other people who are doing the exact same thing, and there's power to doing it together, right? And you expand that knowledge base, you expand that celebration. Um, we also host it in the summertime to help avoid summer learning loss, or excuse me, in the springtime to help avoid summer learning loss. My brain's already in summer, apparently.
Okay, it's supposed to get warmer around here, so everyone's kind of getting antsy.
Yeah, I'm glad it stopped snowing. I don't know about you, but we had snow earlier in the week, and I was a little like, "Oh."
Yes.
But we specifically host the festival in April, May, so that families can discover resources that are in their own backyards, right? And maybe they will discover something new that their child is interested in. And so that'll hopefully bring them closer to community resources that are offered over the summer. And so that kids continue learning, but having fun, right? Relevant learning, but having fun. Um, and then the last goal is to strengthen ecosystems. And so for us, any role that we can help in playing in helping to strengthen ecosystems in any city, we are happy to do it because we know by doing that, it provides more opportunities for kids of all different backgrounds.
That's good. I mean, those are great goals to have. I want to bring Kelsey back in because this um, is at my wife's hair salon. Not putting a plug in for her, but it was at her salon today after work, and I was talking with one of the customers, and we were talking about um, school and such. But remake learning days, it's not just about the technology, correct? It's encompasses technology, but it's also the process behind it, the thinking behind it, and a lot of people don't get that STEAM is not necessarily on the computer, always on the computer. It's a concept, not just computer based.
We're getting photobombed.
Yeah, so I would just add remake learning days. There's a number of different learning themes that we use. So it's arts, it's maker, it's outdoor learning, science, technology, and youth voice. So tech is one of them, but it's not the only one. That provides different learning channels. I don't know, Kelsey, if you want to add something to that.
I do. I want to share the outdoor learning theme where there's a lot of event hosts and not just conservation districts and state parks that are hosting events outside this spring. And I'm sure that there's, some COVID pieces there and it's keeping the distance and being out in an open space. But I'm loving these events that are like art in the park and some arts and some youth voice. One of my favorite events that I attended last year with my own family that is on the event calendar again this year is called Spring at the Springs. And it's a local park in Emlenton, small town Emlenton, PA, and it's a local community art studio. And so they're hosting the event at out an outdoor place, but nature, outdoor learning, some crafts and some rock painting and just all kinds of hands-on learning in a unique outdoor space for families to enjoy. So that's what I love. We have the themes, but that they can cross pollinate within those two.
Yeah. And I'll just
That's
add, Tom, you mentioned your wife owns a hair salon, right?
yes.
Yeah, so in Northeast PA, there's an event called the Art and Science of Hair Color, and it's
Oh, neat.
hosted by the Da Vinci Science Center. And so students, this is for older students, grades 7 through 12, I believe, along with an adult, will work with a cosmetologist and understand the science behind coloring your hair and how to perfect the different shades. And what does that mean? And answer questions about if you're interested in this as a career path, what does that mean? And then actually you get to touch up your roots. And I mean, I was like, maybe I should go. I could use a little touch up. So
I've been
There you
told
go,
I need to do
Dom. Yep.
something with this.
yeah, but and this is a career ready PA event as well. And so again, it goes back to if the learning is relevant to the kids, they will be interested, right? And they will learn whether they know it or not. I mean, these kids that come to that event will learn the science of hair coloring.
And that's good because I know like we have had done job shadowing for our kids before they graduate. They have to job shadow and follow so many different careers and such. And a lot of students go into the job shadowing without a lot of research, and they'll come back and say, you know what, that isn't what I thought it was going to be. And if they don't do that soon enough, they may go into training, may start spending money on these things, and realize, I didn't realize I had to do X, Y, or Z, and that makes me queasy. That's not what I'm happy with, or I wasn't expecting having to do that. So being able to do things like this with the PA Backpack Challenge, that's a good way before they actually get into following a career path, start spending money on classes. What do they have to expect? And a lot of people don't realize the science behind some of the careers they get into.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll just add to what Kelsey shared about Career Ready PA. So there are 375 events happening across the state of Pennsylvania in all six festivals, and 186 of those events qualify for Career Ready PA. And there are events for young kids, there are events for older teens. So I know a lot of times people are like, "Oh, this only applies to older kids as they're maybe exploring their paths post high school." But no, there are events for younger kids where they will learn a skill set or they'll get exposed to a type of career that maybe they just want to ask questions, like ask an architect about this.
So how do families find this information as to where the events are and where they're located, what times and everything?
So we have a great website. It is remakelearningdays.org. And when you go to that website, you can select which region you're interested in learning more about, or you can simply select the Find Events button. And when you do that, you can then you'll see a map populate. Ooh,
Nope.
Kelsey, this is so exciting. Perfect. So you can see a map populate, and below it you can see the events that are in date order. But if I can get you to scroll back up to the top, I'll just share that most people will put in their zip code and say, find an event near me, right? But you can also search by keyword, or you can say, I have these exact dates and this is all that I can do. And I want to know what's happening on this particular day. And so the map will then resort itself. So Kelsey just did a search for 16214 of 25 miles, I believe. So it should resort. But what I was going to say is we know from research and surveys that most parents search by learning theme. They know mostly that their kids are saying, hey, I'm interested in arts or I'm interested in doing something outside. And so you can search by those themes. You can search by age group. We also have accessibility accommodations in there. So you can also search by that. And the majority of events are free. So we do have a cost filter in there, but I would just say 98% of the events are free. And if there is a cost, it's generally a low cost.
That's good to know because I didn't know that is, especially times like this. Um, you know, money is an issue for a lot of people. Travel is an issue. Getting gas in the vehicles to get going. But that's great that most of the events are either free or low cost. Um,
Dom, I do want to chime in real quick since we do
sure.
have that screen share. The the different kinds of events too. So they're in-person events, virtual events, and then the on-demand tab as well will show you items that are available to stream online at any time. You just go in and click and grab that link and engage your family at home or your students during the classroom in those virtual and on demand. So don't forget about those extra little tabs there when you do the in-person and virtual. And then right
Right.
underneath, you can check mark if you want in-person or virtual to show up. And then there's also that additional tab of on demand as well.
So the on demand, there are recorded events,
Mhm.
and then the virtual will be a mix of possibly recorded and live, or
They're live virtual events, so
a
they'll
live
happen at
virtual.
a
But okay,
particular time. Yeah, but whereas on demand is pre-recorded or it's something you can kind of do at your own pace when you want to do it.
that's good to
But
know.
I'm glad Kelsey brought up virtual because I know we're here mostly to talk about things happening in Pennsylvania. But with Remake Learning Days across America and we have more than 100 virtual events, you can start to visit other regions, or kids can connect together in a way that they might not have been able to connect together because they don't live in the same city. So I'll give one example, and then I'm going to call out Kelsey to give out an example that I know happened last year. Um, this year, for example, you could go to the International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C., and you can work with a museum educator there virtually and learn all the skill sets that come with being a spy. And you can test out some of your skills doing some of the challenges that they'll pose. So it's one of those things like I would never be able to do that here in Pittsburgh, right? I'm 4 hours away, but I can join in virtually. So that's one of the nice benefits of virtual. But Cassie, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know cousins, I believe, were able to join in together.
Yes, you're right. I was thinking like, oh gosh, I love all these events. I've talked to Yuling a lot. So which one is she referring to? Yes, Joe Woes out of Pittsburgh. He does the Cartoon Academy show on the WQED PBS station. And he had a weekend virtual tutorial of how to draw your cartoons. And my nephews from Erie, and then my I have two children, but the one that was 4 at the time was the oldest one. We connected together virtually in a Zoom room, and it was still when some of the COVID restrictions were in place, and we hadn't been visiting them very long. Um, so we got to be together in a virtual setting for a Remake Learning Day event and shared our cartoon artistry or lack thereof. But yeah, and he's actually coming back. So just in a day or two, he'll get his event back up on the calendar for this year with the new date.
Very nice. That's great because I know that was, there's still some hesitancy with some people getting together. A lot of people were itching to get back. Kristen Landers,
Our
the
PA
PAECT
statewide
membership chair.
membership chair, yes. We have a lot of photo bombs tonight.
Um, with that, people were trying to get back together, but it is nice because there's still some hesitancy, and even with you know small groups versus crowds, this is a way people can still participate, which is good to know. Um, this is a little bit off of the remake learning days, but just remake learning in general. I know that you guys offer a lot of opportunities for educators and others to improve education, improve learning opportunities. I don't know if that would be another show if you'd like to talk about a little bit about that tonight. But I know Remake Learning does a lot of good events. I don't say does a lot of good events, that doesn't make sense, but sponsors a lot of good initiatives and helps out. The process behind, the purpose behind is to improve learning opportunities and improve quality of life.
Yes, so I can share a little bit about Remake Learning, but I'm sure they would be happy to come back for another show. Remake Learning is a network. It began in 2007. It began in a very informal way, um, where people started meeting each other over pancake breakfast to just talk about learning because everybody kept saying kids are learning differently now. And people were wondering, well, what do you mean by that? So I said it started in 2007. Do you know what else came out in 2007? Kelsey, you look like you know the
I
answer.
think it was the iPhone, right?
It was the iPhone, right? So yes, this piece of equipment that we're probably now like, oh, so but when it came out, it really changed the way that kids engaged with technology and learning, and it expedited the changes in learning. And so that's how I think that's why people kept saying kids are learning differently now. And so over the years, it's grown from this informal cohort to now more than 1,000 members, more than 500 organizations. And these organizations range from schools to libraries to universities to after school maker centers. And they regularly come together in different types of working groups. These working groups could be about computer science, it could be about maker learning. And and we share ideas. They also provide mini grant funding. Right now, they're doing the Moonshot grants. But then they also have a robust blog series where they write about work that's happening in this region and highlighting real work, real people doing amazing, innovative projects and sharing across the state, across the nation, across the world. So I highly recommend, I have the Remake Days Twitter handle, but you can also follow at Remake Learning to stay up to date.
That is good. And I know PACT is a member of Remake Learning. I know individuals can also become a member of Remake Learning.
Yes, you can be an
And
individual or organization.
so, I mean, it's a great organization to belong to, much like PACT. Shout out to ourselves. Um, and like I said, we're trying to work more and more with Remake Learning because you guys are a great organization and we appreciate what you're doing. Um, and the Remake Learning Days, I know, like Kelsey, you said you're officially teaming up with them. I know Pittsburgh, in this region, there's a lot going on. We're more unofficial affiliation uh, with what's going on. But is there anything before? I know Kelsey has to get back to the uh, the desserts and camaraderie at the awards banquet. Anything you want to talk about that's going on in your region or that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah, I'll actually share. I was thinking about this on the way up. I was like, oh, I don't want to forget. And I almost did. So thanks, Dom, for asking. Uh, your PACT is full of educators. And the one thing that we didn't mention about Remake Learning Days is the opportunity for professional learning. So there are, I don't know how many, you might know a number, but there's quite a few virtual and in-person professional development for educator events on the Remake Learning Day calendar. So I wanted to give a shout out quickly. They can filter for adults and filter for professional development and see what's there on the calendar to engage in um, and develop in that way too.
I have a lot of numbers in my head, but for some reason, that is not one number that I have. But I know there are quite a few professional development opportunities. And again, what's fun about that too is you can be here and participate in the opportunities here or across the nation. There are almost 60 professional development opportunities. I just found the number. So, and Dom, I just wanted to acknowledge you had mentioned the book When You Wonder You're Learning,
Yes.
the book study that you're doing, which is awesome. And our theme this year is explore, wonder, and learn together. Thinking about a post-pandemic world, it's time to get back to just enjoying learning, to celebrate. So there are 1,400 events across the nation. Like I said, more than 375 events here in Pennsylvania. But I will highlight one new series that we just are starting to launch, which is called Wonder with Us. So it is with the two authors of When You Wonder You're Learning. And they're doing 3 virtual events in May on Tuesday evening where they're inviting these American superstars who are experts in learning and just have interesting career paths. All 3 of these events are Career Ready PA approved as well. And so on Tuesday, May 10th, they're going to do an interview with Sylvia Acevedo and Jorge Chom. So Sylvia Acevedo is a rocket scientist and the former CEO of Girl Scouts and the author of Path to Stars. And Jorge Chom is one of the co-creators of the PBS kids show Eleanor Wonders Why. So they're going to talk about the importance of science skills and how that gets incorporated into their career paths. The second one is on May 17th, and it's with Coy Boyles. He's a guitarist, a musician. He plays in the Zach Brown Band. And the Wonder With Us event there is about music, making, and more. And he's also written several children's books and also an album just for kids.
That's neat.
Yeah, and the last one I'll just share is with Casey Robin, and she is an illustrator and designer. It'll be on May 24th. She's done beautiful designs for Nick Jr., Noggin, Walt Disney. Just just Google her, look at her Instagram account, and you can't but not help fall in love with her art. And she's going to talk about what drew her to that as a career.
That's great. The book study is phenomenal. It's open to our members, and if you're not a member, you could join for free. You don't have to be a premium member to participate in the book study. That book, Greg spoke at Pete and C this February out in Hershey, the state ed tech conference. PACT is one of the sponsors, and he had a very good presentation, great keynote with three superintendents from districts around Western Pennsylvania, and we decided, Dr. Gentoni and a couple other people wanted to have a book study, so they kind of organized it. We helped back them and do some of the behind the scenes work, but they've been doing the heavy lifting and hosting it and moderating it. But we have Ryan speaking next week as a guest host. But that book should be required reading for new teachers, old teachers like me, administrators, because I remember growing up watching Mr. Rogers. That was like, must see TV back in the day. Being born in the late '60s, mid '60s actually, but I'll say late '60s. Sounds better. But watching that, and then you see the psychology that he used, and I kind of forgot about. I knew some of the people that were in Pittsburgh, but it talks about the people that he networked with and the high-powered psychologists and child development specialists. That he was more than just a TV host. He was pretty much a scientist when it came to studying learning, and it's phenomenal. It should be mandatory reading for all educators. It's a phenomenal book.
Oh, that's really nice of you to say that. And I also enjoy it as a parent. Like, I know a lot of these Pittsburgh places, I take my kids there, but it also references other things that you can just do at home. Like, I love the Ask It Basket idea where, sometimes the question comes up and you may not have time in that moment to answer it. Or in my case, sometimes I just don't know the answer and I need a little time to go research it. And so to be able to put a question like that from a child into a basket and say, this is a very important basket, and we are going to come back and answer these questions, right?
Yeah,
It's meaningful. It's meaningful for both the caregiver and the child.
and
So,
it goes beyond the learning, just the humanity and paying attention and showing that you're concerned and care and actually listening. It covers the whole spectrum of dealing with other people and showing that you're human and showing humanity towards others. So it's a great book. I'm loving the reading of it. So looking forward to next week with Ryan co-host. Not that we've had great moderators the whole way through. But that'll be interesting because I've not met him yet, but I did meet Greg, and as I explained before, when we were at Pete and C, I had my cape on that I got from one of the vendors. I was running through because I had to get to lunch and then get back for a session afterwards. So it was on a tight time schedule. So, and Greg just kind of like smiled and was like, okay, this guy has a cape on, and he just took it in stride. I was like, okay.
I'm sure he loved it. I mean, I would smile. I'd see that and be like, superhero just went by.
Well, I want to thank you guys for um, being on. Anything else you would like to add? Anything I may have missed asking um, before we start wrapping things up?
I just want to say thank you for having us on the show. And I want to thank all the educators who are tuning in for just doing what you do day in and day out for kids. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate you guys being on the show. Thank you again
Thank you.
for offering to be on, and glad we could have you. And Yuling, we'd love to have Remake Learning on again um, and go over some other aspects of what you do for not only Western Pennsylvania, but internationally now, I guess, with you know the Remake Learning Days going and expanding like they have.
You tell us when, we'll be there.
All right, thank you guys. We are going to transition into the normal segments of the show. So I am going to say goodbye to these ladies. Thank you again, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Um, this is normally where we get into the tech notes section of the PACT pod. Eric is not here. I think either A, he's doing a training, or possibly, I'm not going to be one to throw shade at a good friend, but maybe he didn't have tech notes for tonight. So maybe that's why he left and did not show up. But he's usually pretty good about that. Um, I had a couple different things I was going to go with, and I'm going to go old school. I'm going to stick to my script of old school. PB works, old school wikis. You know, back in the day before they had online classrooms, I used what was called Wiki Spaces as an online classroom. That was my platform. I learned it from some of my mentors who were early Keystone Technology innovators. Um, and PACT members before I understood what Keystone Technology Innovator. I think it was Keystone Technology Instigators for a while. And before I knew what, oh, hold on a second. We have to hold the press. Hold the press. Someone's ears were ringing because they heard me talking. Um, hold the press. Welcoming back to the show, Mr. Eric Verno. Heard me
Hey,
talking
hey,
about him not
hey, can
having
you
a
hear me,
tech
Dom?
tip, and he's
All
back.
right. My headsets aren't working here. Give me 1 second.
Not
Technical
a problem.
difficulties popping on the show late.
We had two great guests. Talked a lot about remake learning, and
Oh,
now we're on the tech tip. I was talking
just
about
heard you as I was testing them out.
That's okay. Let's talk about the PB Works, old school wikis from way back before I even knew what PACT was or knew about Keystone Technology innovators, integrators, and instigators all through the various existence. The names have changed. Uh, some past members, current members that are still around, showed me about Wikispaces, and I used that as my online classroom platform. And I still use it. Wikispaces went away, but I use PB Works, which is still free, which is why I love it. And I used to support my online classroom because the school district. I've used several different platforms over the years. I used to kind of run Renegade and have freedom to do whatever I wanted from that standpoint. And then we've since invested in a standardized platform, but it limits what I can do. So I use a wiki, PB Works, as an easy space for kids to jump in and out of working on things. I actually got the idea from there's an article in the Pittsburgh Post Gazette. A professor, I don't remember his name, down at Carnegie Mellon University. He would put for his classes. He would put his syllabus up on the screen, and or on the screen. I'm watching the screen. Put it up on his course room, and link it to a wiki. And he had the bare bones syllabus, and he told the students, "This is your workspace. Fill in the notes as you see fit. That will be your study guide." He said, "I'll monitor to make sure the information is correct, but they could have discussions. They could put in the notes. They could work on the background and have the discussions because wikis allow you to have discussions in the background." And that's how he ran his study guides for his students. That was kind of a added study bonus for them where kids could fill that in. And I've taken that over the years and kind of used it for enrichment points for my classes, where students could go in and add information. I would fact check it to make sure it's accurate. And if their information was accurate, they would get enrichment points, but it was also a nice study guide for students. So, sticking with the old school technology, it's still around, it still works. And that was PB Works.
No, that's amazing. I saw that in the notes earlier. I apologize for being late, everyone.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, okay. I bet you that still works. And wikis are great, man. They have such a good place and such a good platform to be able to utilize. Very flexible. So that's neat to hear. All right, I'll roll into my tech note here. I have, of course, I got to pull some Microsoft in. And Microsoft formerly had a site called the MEC. And it was you would get to it by going education.microsoft.com. And currently, they are switching it over to Microsoft Learns. And this is a free platform, free website for professional development and more focused towards Microsoft and its partners. One of the unique stories is a few years ago, we were a colleague and I were asked to kind of take over our first robotics club. So I don't know if you have any kind of robotics programs in your school, Dom, but Lego has a great program with their first program and their EV3 robots and their Spike robots. And I knew a little bit, but not a lot. And one day I happened to have been scrolling in the mech and I was like, oh my word, there was a whole thing on how to build, code, and do work with an EV3 robot. Told my colleagues, we went through, and that was kind of our bare bones training off the bat. And now we're I think this is year 4 or 5. The virtual years kind of throw me off a little bit as far as having a robotics program, but they have anything from your Minecraft programs, how to, just get more familiar with it, even to dyslexia awareness. How are you using technology to help those students in your classroom that are dealing with dyslexia? Creating STEAM learning with Minecraft. You could go specifically into esports. New stuff's being added all the time. All sorts of modules. It's really cool. You
That's
can hit all your
fantastic.
Microsoft products and all their partner stuff.
Now, do you have to be a Microsoft school to access this, or can anyone access this?
Anyone can access it. And actually, the first time I started using it, I felt guilty because I was using a Gmail account. And but yeah, no, I use my school account to log in, and yeah, anybody can access it. So you don't have to have any affiliation with Microsoft. You could just be going on this site to be able to learn some different things. And
What is
just
the URL again?
so it's just do a Google search for Microsoft Learns, but docs Microsoft Microsoft.com will take you there. So we'll make sure we put links in the notes in the
Oh, yeah.
session notes. All right.
Thank you very much. That is definitely something I'm gonna because we have a couple new teachers that are running our STEM program at school, and so I want to get that information out to them because that's pretty fantastic.
It's awesome.
I'm sorry you missed the guests earlier. I was giving you a little bit. I says he was looking up that website for his tech tools. That's why he was late.
Yep. No, double booked myself. Never a good thing. But I had it on. I was watching. I was able to see a little bit of it looked like it was amazing. It looks like it was great. A lot of good
Yes.
stuff.
The Remake Learning Days, and I'll put those links in the notes and the descriptions here later this week. Remake Learning Days. I remember when it was just the Pittsburgh thing, and it has grown exponentially, which is fantastic because it's a very noble endeavor.
That's awesome. I'll definitely be going back and listening to what our guests had to say and talk about it. So that's really cool. All right, where are we at in the show there, Dom?
We're pretty much ready to wrap it up. But how's everything going out your way? Because I haven't had a chance to talk to you in a while.
Yeah, no. Well, we just missed the nor'easter. Was about 15 to 20 miles west of us. So got all that going on, and we're hitting that time of the year that every teacher became a teacher so they could proctor state testing, right?
Yes.
Right? Yeah, maybe not. So yeah, we're rolling into.
Yeah, we're getting ready for that too. I have a lot
Yeah.
of sophomores, so I get the proctor, and the kids,
Okay.
they do the this is the worst. I'm like, listen, I said this is going to sound crazy. At least you're doing something. They're like, what? I go, I get to watch you take the test. I said, there you go. I said, you have pressure. You know how I feel about the pressure. I'm not a fan of it. I said, but at least you have something to occupy yourself. I said, I have to watch you take the test. When we were in lockdown, I would do social distance activities with Mr. Sal. And one of the things, my wife was repainting her hair salon. I did a let's watch paint dry activity. And I did it in jest. And I said, theoretically, watching paint dry is more entertaining than watching you guys suffer through
True
the
that.
standardized test. So I'll be
funny.
proctoring at least 2 of the 3 tests. I'm hoping to
Well,
dodge the third one. But
what I'm hoping for, and I know we haven't talked about this on the PACT level, I'm not sure which region is up to bat, but I really hope the PACT Goose Chase comes out because I know in years past, South Central has done a few of them that they would set up a goose chase for teachers to be able to do complete 10 laps around the room. And obviously you can't have a device at the time,
yes,
but after, in the afternoon or after school, you'd be able to go through and get your points for doing different things, squats, little different things, just calf raises while you're walking around monitoring, just
Yep.
to kind of keep it interesting. So
Put
I hope
the
that
old
kicks in.
school the old school step tracker on, so you get credit for your
Yeah,
steps, even though you can't have devices in the room.
yeah, yeah. Did you go over upcoming events at PACT?
No, we haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, okay. I actually have that queued up on my screen if you want me to go ahead and put that on there.
Sure.
All right. All right. Look at this. April showers, right? That's definitely good. So on our PACT Glide Show at bit.ly all caps PAECT lowercase events EVENTS. All right. So some of these events have come and gone. How was let's see, Southwest Meet and Geek? How are the Meet and Geeks going for you this year?
We have been on hiatus. It was just scheduling was a little hectic, holidays and everything going on. So I'm hoping to pick those up here
Okay.
in the near future.
Well, I hope anybody who's listening or catches this, tomorrow before Saturday morning, April 23rd. One thing I really would love to see PACT build up, beef up, is our Keystone Lead and Learn event. We've done it in person in the past. This year is going to be virtual, and really it's an event geared towards pre-service teachers, and that's one of the things that I believe our reach really needs to hit, is work with a lot of those pre-service teachers and let them know what they don't know. What are the things that they could be learning about for the classroom? So that'll be happening this Saturday from 10 till noon. I'll be keynoting for about 15 minutes to introduce everybody and welcome everybody to it, and kick it off. And we have a lot of awesome presenters that are going to be going through for the day. So you can go to the pact.org/calendar to be able to see and be able to sign up there. And I think we should probably. Oh, go ahead, Don.
Right. I was at the Get Connected conference. PACT was a co-sponsor out there at St. Vincent College. I was talking with Dr. Aaron Sams, and he had a lot of his pre-service teachers. I was telling them about that event and trying to get them involved in PACT. So hopefully we'll get some traction, get some people from all the pre-service teachers from around the state involved in that.
That'd be great. And I wasn't able to make the virtual murder mystery, totally rad, 80s prom gone bad. I don't know. I've heard great things about it. Were you able to attend it, Dom?
I had something going on that night. I attended the one in the past. I've attended one, and they are fun.
They
Great
are
social event.
Definitely. Let's do a little preview of May, since that's right around the corner.
I know it's that time, man.
Well, you get to kick it off. Are you holding the May 10th Meet and Geek?
As of now, I do not think so.
Okay. So if anybody from the Southwest is listening, email at Dom Salvucci at pact.org that you want your Meet and Geek. All right.
Yes. Anybody, I'll
All
tell
right.
you what, and I've put that out there. Anybody, if you can't make it to one of our centralized locations, we will sponsor an event by you, because I know all the regions are rather spread out and people can't always get there after work. And I know the other regional directors are the same. Let us know and we will get something going in your area. If we can't make it ourselves, we will still help sponsor it.
That's awesome. Looks like Grove City's got a little ropes course going May 14th. That sounds
That's going to
fun.
be interesting. Talk with people, about that. Some of the book club, the book group people were talking about that.
And I did sit in on a meeting. Sue Allen, the South Central Regional Directors, they're pretty amped up about a Keystone Kids Space happening in York, PA. It's actually in an old state armory, and they worked on building out this space to be a whole hands-on STEM robotics area. So they got a really cool. They have a lot of really cool things that go on in the facilities, and they're going to put on a great show for the PACT crew that's going. I believe premium members free members. I think there's a $10 fee that they're going to have for it, because there is going to be kind of a make and take part that is occurring. So a tour and STEM activity hosted by the South Central Region. That's May 24th, 6:30 p.m. Hopefully we'll see you there.
Nice. I cannot read off your screen, but I know on the notes we have, now there's a soft circuit learning, make your own light up T-shirt hosted by Carnegie Library of Homestead. That's a Remake Learning Days event. These are some of the
Oh, okay.
Remake Learning Days events going on.
Yeah.
Bug Builders May 18th, hosted by Winnie Palmer Nature Reserve. Uh, Winnie Palmer Nature Reserve in search of mini beasts in the garden under logs, Palmer Pond, Great Bug Hotel. May 20th at IU number 6 Innovation Playground. It's RIU number 6, showcasing winners of the regional STEM competitions, Vex Robotics, STEM Design Challenge, etc. Statewide PA Smart Grant projects such as Build Fly Code. Teachers and students who have been utilizing BBots and Spheros will
Hmm.
be there. It's open mic night with regional student musicians. So that's part of Remake Learning Days. There's a lot going on. The one that Yuling talked about was the Art and Science of Hair Color at Da Vinci Science Center.
Hmm.
There's a couple things as we were talking. I don't know if you caught that or not.
Hmm.
Conversation I had with a lady today at my wife's hair salon. She was talking about computers and everything, and I said, she was kind of lamenting the hands-on instruction and how
Yeah.
some kids do better hands-on. I said, well, that's part of STEAM and
Yeah.
STEM too. It's not just computers; it's the thinking behind it. There's a lot of hands-on, and across PA, May 20th, Farmer Friday. Visit dairy farmer William Thiel.
Hmm.
Thiel or Thiel, I'm not certain. Thiele. Learn about drones. And that is on the Remake Learning site. So there's a
That is
bunch of
awesome.
events going on statewide.
They're doing a
Not
lot
to
of great
mention,
things.
yeah, the specific PAECT events being held. So you check out PAECT.org. The calendar's at the bottom of the homepage. There's an events page on our website. And as we talked with guests earlier, Remake Learning. Go to remakelearningdays.org, and there's a whole host of events there. Some are virtual, some are on demand, some are live and in person.
And I even think PACT has got a couple of Remake Learning Days
Yes.
in our different regions, so check there as well. All right, time to thank our sponsors. What do you think?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Thank you to our sponsors.
Yes. Without you guys.
All right, still got to work on that audio a little bit there.
It's better. It's better.
Yeah.
It's not blasting loud.
Yeah. All right, our sponsors make things happen, so we really truly appreciate them.
Yes.
All right, well, we got May upon us, and we'll be looking at kicking things off. Have we talked about what we're going to be talking about in May yet? What are our ideas? What are we kicking around? Anything specific?
I have to take a look. I know we were kicking some ideas around. I know Remake Learning's willing to come back sometime at a later date. We had talked about getting some of the other new PAECT board members involved, talking about them. ISTE's coming up, so that's another topic that we usually cover before. That's probably a good May topic. A little bit of anyone going to ISTE.
Sure. Yeah.
Because June it'll be too late.
That is correct. That is correct. And as we're talking and kind of spitfiring things to talk about, you could always email us at pod@pact.org. Give us, hey, maybe we're going to talk about this. I'd love to hear about this, or maybe you'd like to be on the show. We'd love to have you. It's PACT is a volunteer organization by teachers for teachers. Everybody from the top to the bottom is in education in some way, shape, or form. We have many members that are retired, but they still keep in contact with their colleagues, and they still keep in contact with PACT, and we're only as strong as our members. And fortunately, Dom, we've got some awesome members.
Yes. And, learning is a lifelong endeavor. They always say, and it's true. Um, I'm an old dog still learning new tricks.
We all
Share
are.
some pictures, uh, off topic, but earlier today I sent some pictures to
Yeah.
Eric, some pictures I found on my phone. I was looking for a few things, and both of us a lot less gray in our beards
Yep. Very much. Very
from
much
years
so.
ago. And, we're still at it. But yeah, the more people that are involved, the better. That's the strength of the organization.
And and one thing we can say is, Dom, we've outlasted the picture that you sent of myself and Nicole Hill. That picture outlasted the building. That's at the old
Yeah.
Days Inn. It's no longer there
Yeah.
in State College. Yeah, that's funny. All right. Well, PACT, we truly appreciate all of you who listen, all of you who catch us on the audio podcast or replay it on Facebook. Thank you so much for putting up with Dom and I and our antics.
And don't forget, throw a few more things in about PACT. If
Yeah.
you're an Amazon, if you order off Amazon, we have an Amazon Smile account. Check that out.
Mhm.
Check out PACT.org. Check your emails because we send out weekly email blasts. We have a weekly newsletter which has events from PACT and the ISTE affiliate in New York, NISCATE. So there's a lot that's being sent out. Please check your
Mhm.
emails for that. And if you're
Yeah.
not getting those emails, please let your regional director know. I should just direct everything to Josh Bundy, but I'll be nice and find your regional director. We're on the website. Reach out to your regional director, and we will get that rectified for you. There's a lot of good information that comes out from PACT every week. We try not to spam you guys, but
Yep.
there's some good professional development opportunities, some good tech tips, and just general
Mhm.
information that goes out. So check your
Yeah.
email for those things. Go to pact.org for information. We have it there on the calendar. We have an events page. Check that out because PACT, we are
The voice of EdTech
in Pennsylvania.
and beyond.
Changed it up a
Take
little bit
care.
on the phrasing there.
That's
Who
right.
said what?
All right. Take care, everyone.
See you guys in May.